Okay, we're ready for poly painting now. Now, poly painting basically paints on the model using the mesh that's already there. So the denser the mesh, the better the poly painting. I'll give you an example. If I take my mesh down to division 2, which is quite low, and then I use a standard brush with the freehand stroke and I turn off add and desub. If I leave these on, it will sculpt into the model as I'm painting, which is a good feature if you need to use it, but in this case we don't. And I turn RGB on only, not material and not material RGB, otherwise it will apply the material to it as well. So let's zoom in on the model, bring the brush size down and just do a stroke on the model. Now if you look, it's jumping to the polygons, but it's not very clean, and this is because it is resolution dependent. So if I crank it up to 7 and now I draw, it's a lot smoother. So that's just something to bear in mind. If your mesh isn't nicely smooth all over, you might get some jaggedy lines and not be able to paint in properly. But now we need to, what I generally do is I work in the fast shader. It's nice and clear, I can see what I'm doing. And also I use the Subtool Master a lot. Now at the moment I've got the eyes turned on. I'm going to turn them off temporarily and we're going to paint them later. I'm also going to turn off the paint brushes on these, and we're just going to edit the actual skin itself. So what we need to do is basically I cover the whole thing in black. So what I'm going to do, but before I do that, I'm going to bring it up to white, get rid of this. I need to go down to colour and then fill object, and it will fill it. And I want the creases in here. I mean, this model's going to be like he's brand new out of a showroom, so no scratches or any of that sort of thing. You could put those in, and I'll show you how to put some dents and things into him a bit later, maybe if I've got time. But let's now use the masking tool down here, and let's turn on mask by cavity. And this will basically find the cavitied areas. I don't know if you can see, but if I now paint over this, only if I of course turn my colour on, it will paint in over all the areas that are not in too deep a cavity. And this curve can be controlled using the curve profile. So if I now clear this, you can see that these deep ridges in here have stayed, and that's kind of what we want. We want it to be quite deep like that, so this cavity setting is going to work for us quite well. So I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the whole thing black. I'm going to clear my mask, and I'm going to go into colour and fill object. So he's appeared all black. So now I'm going to use the mask by cavity, mask by ambient. I clicked mask by ambient. Didn't want to do that, wanted to click the mask by cavity. Mask by ambient occlusion, or mask the light and the ambience coming in areas. It's very good, but we don't want to use that, and it's going to take so long to load up. I might as well just load the model back in again. So back we go. Cyborg 26, pull him out into this, hide this, into my fast shader, turn off this and this, and also as a footnote, make sure that you've deleted your morph target. And now I'm going to pick the black. We know the basic setting was perfectly fine, I might actually, to give me a little bit of leeway, I might put him into a darker orange, really dark orange. There we go. Now I need to go down to masking, and now the default mask by cavity. So that's masked the cavity. Now I'm going to come up to a mid-range orange, and I'm going to go to colour and fill object. Now because I still had the masking, it'll only colour the orange in on the rest of the model that isn't masked by the cavity. So if I clear this now, you can see all those dark areas are nicely put in there. Now there's another way of doing this. We're going to pick the orange here, and this is the top coat kind of orange. I could go like this. Well, hold on, I need to make sure that I've got, that's good. I could manually go around this and mask it all, or I can come down and use my cavity again. So I'm going to turn the intensity of the cavity down, and then I'm going to mask by cavity, and now I'm going to pick fill by object again, and I'm going to clear the mask. Probably is best done the other way. Intensity I'm going to turn up, mask by cavity, that's better, wrong way, and then fill it across there. I'm going to clear the mask, and now you see you're getting that kind of rugged look because I've got 3 layers. Now I could come up even more and take it 100% and pick an even lighter colour and fill this side as well. That's quite nice. And now if I come down and put this into the metal colour, we really start getting this great effect going on. And he's nice, but I'm now going to drop the intensity back into the fast shader so I can see what's going on. And I'm going to pick this orange, I'm going to drop this down to about 10, and I'm going to fill the object. Then I'm going to press 1 on the keyboard, and it's looking quite nice. Might want to manually come into some of these areas and just begin to put some detailing in. If you control click from here to here, you can actually capture the colour. Now I quite like him, but he isn't orange enough. This is my biggest problem, he's not orange enough. So I'm going to bring this down to 4, and I'm going to fill, and I'm going to fill, and keep filling until he reaches the tone that I want. And that's about perfect. That's good. And as you saw the illustration, all of him was orange. I could go in and put different colours for some of the joints. In fact, I might do that. Come in here and make some of these screw heads and stuff different colours. Just to change it up. So we're actually creating a little bit of, almost a little bit of wear and tear on the body, which can look quite effective. So I suggest that you go in here and start to play around with these colours and these settings. These fingers now, I'm going to take a little bit of the colour off So I'm going in with the grey, just because it would be a little bit more sort of wear and tear on some of these areas. The kneecaps would be, take it a little bit greyer, maybe a little bit down here. The ends of the shoes take on a little bit of colour. So we're trying to break up the evenness of it. And of course these screw heads, and if you like you can even come in and grab an alpha and start to drag in a little bit of this over the top, turn the intensity up a bit. So we're kind of dragging more adding a bit of wear and tear to it. And I would suggest that you turn off X symmetry for some parts as well, to give it a bit more it'll make it look a bit less sort of 3D. So carry on working over the model, and then we'll work on the eyes. So once you finish that and you're happy with it, then move on to the eyes. So we're going to flick this off, and I'm actually going to take both these eyes and merge them down onto the same layer. So I'll select this one, and then I'll come down to merge down, click OK. We've got them on the same layer now, and I'm basically going to fill those with a nice bright orange. I'm going to fill that. That's good. Actually, need to turn the RGB right up for this. That's good. Okay, now I'll turn this layer back on so I can see him. This is sometimes what happens. That's better. That's the annoying thing sometimes with that fill thing, it just drives you mad. Let's go back to this, turn this one off. Now I'm going to select my orange, go to document and fill colour. Just going to bring this back, that's better. Okay, now I'm going to select the layer underneath, and I'm going to select a darker colour. Make sure RGB's on. I'm going to bring it down to about here. Now what I want to do is create a darker shade around the eyes. So in fact I'm going to turn the alpha off, and I'm going to put it on freehand. Now in games modelling, it's really important that all these lines, all these divots are really dark, because it will make it easier and it will look better. There's all these games like Killzone, etc., and all of this is just over the top. You can also use the smooth brush to smooth this out. You can smooth colour out as well as you can smooth the actual geometry out, which is a handy little tool to have. So once you've got that all darkened, we can move back up to the eye layer and start to put X symmetry on, reduce this down, and I'm simply going to start to bring a colour in around here. I'm going to go down the bottom here, and I'm going to start to run a little bit of the dark colour around the eyes, just so it blends in a little bit better. That's pretty nice. I'm going to go back to the orange, and as you can see, you can overlay these colours, and this is the beauty of it. You can keep overlaying colours until you get it dead right. I'm going to pull back to this colour again. Once again, I reduce my brush size, pull it to a real yellowy colour to make it ping. And so there you go. Pretty quick. Okay, so now I'm going to just check these off. I'm now going to turn it to material, and I want to put it into this chrome colour. This chrome colour's got an actual that's quite nice. And I'm just basically trying different materials to see how they're going to look. And you can do this to get it to work. You just click the light bulbs on and just move them around as you see fit. That's not bad. That's too much. Might be better to go to one of these chromes, but you can't see them very well. That's not bad. That's kind of the effect I wanted. So that's our model. So what we do now is we would output that, obviously do a grab like we did before, document, and then export, and we do a turntable, send it to our creative director for approval to take this into Maya. So that's it. So I'll see you in the next lesson.